January 13th, 1945, near Colmar, France. Private William Thompson of the 614th Tank Destroyer Battalion hears his platoon sergeant scream. Sergeant Robert Morrison is hit. German machine gun fire caught him in the open, severed his femoral artery. He's 50 yards from cover, bleeding out, under continuous fire. The tactical situation is clear. Anyone attempting rescue will be killed. The German machine gun has perfect field of fire. Approaching Morrison means crossing open ground with zero cover while enemy gunners track you the entire distance. Every soldier in the platoon understands this. Morrison is dying. Attempting rescue is suicide. The platoon should suppress the German position, wait for the machine gun to be neutralized, then recover Morrison's body. Thompson doesn't calculate odds. He runs. He sprints across open ground while German machine gun fire stitches the frozen earth around him. Bullets crack past his head. He reaches Morrison, grabs him under the arms, and drags him backward toward cover while still under fire. The machine gun tracks them. Rounds impact around both men. Thompson feels the concussion of near misses, hears bullets snapping past. He doesn't stop. He keeps dragging Morrison, step by step, toward the tree line. 40 yards, 30, 20. Other soldiers lay suppressive fire on the German position, forcing the gunner to take cover momentarily. Thompson uses those seconds to drag Morrison the final distance to safety. Morrison is still alive. Thompson applies a tourniquet to the leg wound. The femoral artery is severed, but the tourniquet stops the bleeding. A medic arrives, provides additional treatment, evacuates Morrison to Battalion Aid Station. Morrison survives. The doctors later tell him he would have died within 3 minutes without the tourniquet. Thompson's rescue saved his life. Morrison writes an award recommendation immediately. He describes Thompson's action in detail: running under fire, dragging a wounded soldier to safety, applying life-saving first aid while exposed to enemy fire. He recommends Thompson for the Silver Star, the third highest military decoration. The recommendation moves through battalion. The battalion commander endorses it. The regimental commander endorses it. It reaches division headquarters for final approval. Division denies the award. Official reason? Insufficient witnesses to corroborate the action. The real reason? A black private saving a white sergeant's life contradicts institutional narratives about racial hierarchy. The Army in 1945 prefers stories where white soldiers demonstrate heroism and black soldiers provide support. Thompson's rescue, a black soldier risking his life to save a white soldier, doesn't fit the preferred narrative. Thompson receives nothing. No Silver Star, no Bronze Star, no commendation. The official record treats the rescue as if it never happened. Morrison spends the next 40 years trying to get Thompson recognized. He writes letters to the Army, to congressmen, to anyone who might review the case. He provides his own testimony. He was there. He was the wounded soldier saved. He knows exactly what happened. The Army maintains its position. Insufficient witnesses, award denied. This is William Thompson's story. The soldier who saved a life under fire then was denied recognition because his heroism contradicted racial narratives. If you want military history about soldiers whose achievements were buried for racial reasons, subscribe right now. Drop a comment with where you're watching from. Thompson's case proves the awards system was designed to maintain racial hierarchy.
The 614th Tank Destroyer Battalion is a segregated black unit. Black enlisted men,
predominantly white officers, operating M10 tank destroyers. Tank destroyer battalions are specialized units designed to counter enemy armor. They operate lightly armored, mobile vehicles, mounting high-velocity guns. The M10 carries a 3-inch gun capable of destroying German tanks at range. The doctrine: tank destroyers remain mobile, responding to enemy armor threats, engaging from advantageous positions, then displacing before enemy counterfire. It's aggressive, dangerous work, requiring tactical skill and courage under fire. The 614th deploys to Europe in late 1944, entering combat in France during the final Allied push toward Germany. They support infantry operations, engage German armor when encountered, and provide anti-tank defense for American forces. Private William Thompson serves in the 614th as a crewman, loading ammunition, maintaining equipment, performing the physically demanding work that keeps tank destroyers operational. He's 22 years old, from Georgia, enlisted in 1943. Thompson is assigned to a crew led by Sergeant Robert Morrison, a white NCO from Ohio. Morrison is a career soldier, experienced tanker, professional in his approach to leadership. He treats his crew, including Thompson, with respect based on competence, not race. This dynamic is unusual but not unique in segregated units. Some white NCOs and officers are racist, treating black soldiers as inferior regardless of capability. Others, like Morrison, are professional, evaluating soldiers based on performance. Morrison and Thompson develop mutual respect. Thompson is competent, reliable, works hard. Morrison appreciates these qualities and treats Thompson accordingly. Thompson respects Morrison's leadership and professionalism. By January 1945, they've served together for several months. They've been in combat, faced enemy fire together, learned to trust each other in dangerous situations. On January 13th, that trust is tested under the worst possible circumstances. January 13th, 1945. The 614th Tank Destroyer Battalion is supporting infantry operations near Colmar, France. German forces hold defensive positions in the area, fortified buildings, machine gun nests, anti-tank guns. American forces are conducting systematic attacks to clear these positions. The 614th provides anti-tank support. Their M10 tank destroyers are positioned to engage any German armor that appears and to provide direct fire support against fortified positions. Sergeant Morrison's crew is dismounted, conducting reconnaissance on foot. The tank destroyer is positioned 200 yards back, ready to provide fire support. Morrison and several crew members, including Thompson, are moving forward to identify German positions. They approach a tree line. German forces are positioned in buildings beyond the trees. As Morrison moves into the open between the tree line and the buildings, a German machine gun opens fire. The burst hits Morrison in the left leg, the femoral artery. Blood spurts immediately. Morrison falls, tries to crawl back to cover, realizes the machine gun is tracking him. He's pinned down 50 yards from the tree line with arterial bleeding. The other soldiers take cover. The German machine gun position has clear field of fire. Anyone entering the open ground will be targeted immediately. The tactical situation is hopeless. Morrison is dying. Rescue is suicide. Thompson assesses the situation. Morrison has maybe 3 minutes before he bleeds out. The machine gun will kill anyone attempting rescue. But Morrison will definitely die without intervention. Thompson runs. This is the story of a soldier who faced certain death to save another man's life, then was denied recognition for 40 years. If you want military history about heroism erased by institutional racism, subscribe right now. Drop a comment with where you're watching from. Thompson's case proves black soldiers' valor was systematically undercounted. He sprints directly toward Morrison across open ground. The German machine gunner sees him, swings the gun, fires. The MG-42 spits bullets at 1,200 rounds per minute, 20 bullets per second, creating a stream of fire. Thompson zigzags, making himself harder to hit. Bullets impact around him, kicking up frozen dirt, cracking past his head. He doesn't stop. He reaches Morrison, grabs him under the arms, begins dragging him backward. Morrison is semi-conscious, can't help. Thompson pulls dead weight while the machine gun continues firing. Other soldiers from the platoon realize what Thompson is doing. They lay suppressive fire on the German position, rifle fire, forcing the machine gunner to take cover momentarily. These brief intervals give Thompson precious seconds. He drags Morrison backward, step by step. The distance is impossibly long. 50 yards might as well be 500 when every yard is under fire. But Thompson keeps moving. 30 yards from the tree line, the German machine gun resumes firing. Bullets snap past Thompson's head. He feels the concussion of rounds passing inches away. Morrison cries out, not from his leg wound, but from fear they're both about to die. Thompson keeps dragging. 20 yards, 15, 10. Final sprint. Thompson pulls Morrison the last few yards, crossing the tree line into cover. They collapse behind trees. Thompson immediately examines Morrison's leg wound. The femoral artery is severed. Blood is pumping out with each heartbeat, arterial bleeding that will kill Morrison in minutes without intervention. Thompson applies a tourniquet above the wound. He uses a stick to tighten the tourniquet until the bleeding stops. Morrison screams from the pain. The tourniquet is cutting off all blood flow to the leg, but the bleeding stops. A medic arrives, evaluates the wound, provides additional treatment. Morrison is evacuated to Battalion Aid Station, then to a field hospital for surgery. The surgeons repair the artery. Morrison survives, keeps his leg, eventually makes full recovery. The doctor tells Morrison later, "Without that tourniquet, you would have died before reaching us. Whoever applied it saved your life." Morrison knows exactly who saved his life. Private William Thompson, who ran through machine gun fire to rescue him. Morrison writes the award recommendation from his hospital bed. The citation describes Thompson's action in detail. On January 13, 1945, near Colmar, France, Sergeant Robert Morrison was struck by enemy machine gun fire while conducting reconnaissance. Private William Thompson, observing his sergeant wounded and under continuous enemy fire approximately 50 yards from cover, advanced across open ground under direct machine gun fire, reached Sergeant Morrison, and dragged him to safety while exposed to concentrated enemy fire. Upon reaching cover, Private Thompson immediately applied a tourniquet to Sergeant Morrison's leg wound, stopping arterial bleeding that would have resulted in death within minutes. Private Thompson's extraordinary courage, selfless sacrifice, and quick action under fire directly saved Sergeant Morrison's life. Private Thompson's action demonstrated conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life, above and beyond the call of duty. His heroic action reflects the highest traditions of military service and merits recognition with the Silver Star. Morrison signs the recommendation and submits it to his battalion commander. He expects quick approval. The action clearly meets Silver Star criteria. Saving a life while under direct enemy fire is exactly what the decoration recognizes. The battalion commander reviews the recommendation and endorses it. Approved. Recommend award of Silver Star to Private Thompson for extraordinary heroism in action. The recommendation moves to regimental headquarters. The regimental commander endorses it. Approved. Private Thompson's action demonstrates exceptional valor deserving of recognition. The recommendation reaches division headquarters for final approval. This is routine. Lower commanders have endorsed it. The action clearly meets award criteria. Thompson should receive the Silver Star. Division denies it. The official reason: insufficient witnesses to corroborate the action described in the citation. This reason is nonsensical. Morrison himself is a witness. He was the wounded soldier saved. Other soldiers in the platoon witnessed Thompson's rescue. The medic who treated Morrison can corroborate that Thompson applied the life-saving tourniquet. But division maintains the position. Insufficient witnesses. Award denied. Morrison is furious. He appeals the decision, providing additional testimony, naming other witnesses, emphasizing that he personally observed the entire action. His appeals are denied. The real reason for denial becomes clear through institutional patterns. The Army in 1945 systematically denies awards to black soldiers for actions that contradict racial hierarchies. A black private saving a white sergeant's life inverts the expected racial dynamic. The preferred narrative: white leaders demonstrate heroism. Black soldiers follow orders and provide support. Thompson's rescue: initiative, courage, life-saving action by a black soldier toward a white soldier, doesn't fit this narrative. So the award is denied. Thompson receives nothing. The official record treats the rescue as if it never happened. Morrison doesn't give up. After recovering from his wounds, he returns to duty. He continues serving through the end of World War II, then in the peacetime Army. He retires in 1965 after 24 years of service. Throughout his military career and after retirement, Morrison advocates for Thompson's recognition. He writes letters to the Army Board for Correction of Military Records, requesting review of Thompson's award denial. He writes to congressmen from his home state explaining the situation and requesting congressional intervention. He provides detailed testimony about the rescue, emphasizes that insufficient witnesses cannot be the real reason for denial when he himself is a witness. His efforts produce minimal results. The Army maintains its position. The original denial was appropriate. No basis exists for reconsidering the award. Morrison tries different approaches. He contacts veterans organizations, military historians, civil rights groups, anyone who might have influence to reopen the case. He provides documentary evidence. His own award citation recommending Thompson for the Silver Star, medical records showing his injury and treatment, testimony from other soldiers present during the rescue. Nothing works. The Army will not reconsider Thompson's case. Morrison spends 40 years on this effort. From 1945 to 1985, he persistently advocates for Thompson's recognition. He never accepts the Army's denial as final. He knows what happened. He knows Thompson saved his life. He believes Thompson deserves recognition for that extraordinary action. But the institutional resistance is impenetrable. The Army will not acknowledge that its 1945 denial was racially motivated. Admitting that means admitting the award system was corrupted by racism, an acknowledgement the institution resists. Thompson, meanwhile, continues his life. He musters out of the Army in 1946, returns to Georgia, builds a civilian career. He doesn't publicly campaign for recognition. That's Morrison's fight. Thompson knows what he did. He doesn't need a medal to validate saving Morrison's life. But the lack of recognition rankles. Thompson performed an act of extraordinary courage. He risked his life to save another soldier. That action should be recognized, not for Thompson's ego, but because recognition matters to military culture and values. When heroic actions go unrecognized, it sends a message. Some soldiers' valor matters less than others. When that differential follows racial lines, it reinforces institutional racism. In 1985, Morrison dies at age 68. He spent 40 years advocating for Thompson's recognition without success. His obituary mentions his World War II service, his career, his family. It doesn't mention his 4-decade fight to get William Thompson recognized for saving his life. Thompson outlives Morrison. He continues living in Georgia, working, raising his family. The rescue recedes into personal history, a memory of war, a moment of extreme danger survived, an action he's proud of, regardless of official recognition. In the 1990s, the Army begins reviewing World War II awards for evidence of racial discrimination. Researchers discover systematic patterns. Black soldiers' award recommendations denied at higher rates than white soldiers with similar actions. They discover Thompson's case. They review the evidence, Morrison's detailed citation, witness testimony, medical records corroborating the rescue. They conclude the 1945 denial was unjustified. In 1997, 52 years after the rescue, the Army awards Thompson the Soldier's Medal for heroism not involving combat with an enemy. It's not the Silver Star Morrison recommended, but it's official recognition of Thompson's action. Thompson is 74 years old when he receives the award. Morrison, who fought for 40 years to get Thompson recognized, has been dead for 12 years. He never saw Thompson receive the recognition he deserved. William Thompson dies in 2004 at age 81. His obituary notes his World War II service and the Soldier's Medal awarded in 1997. It mentions saving a fellow soldier's life under fire, the action that should have been recognized in 1945, was denied for racial reasons, and finally acknowledged 52 years late.